La 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 la. Welcome back to the to the Random Show, episode number 42, with your host, AgostinhoZinga. I hope you are well wherever this show may be finding you, wherever this show may be finding you. Some of you doubted me. Some of you thought I wasn't that guy. Some of you thought I wouldn't come through. And I've proven you wrong once again. But thank you so much for those of you that are hanging around, that stuck around. Again, apologies for the lateness. What happened to this day? So I'm actually on vacation right now. I'm on vacation. That's why the background looks different. I'm in Berlin at the moment. I'm here for the weekend. Hence the fund here at the bottom. So if you like what you hear, like what you listen to, and you want to support the Berlin Beer Fund, I've got a couple already that I already bought from the store. Then of course make sure you donate. The link is in the chat. You can donate on the Streamlabs link or whatever, or you can send something through a Cash App if you need be. But regardless, I'm here for the weekend, here to party, here to visit some friends, and I decided to put the stream on the same weekend because I wanna see you guys, man. It's been a long time, so I want to stream at the same time that I'm on vacation. So sorry for the delay. My flight was delayed in terms of landing at my location, which is here in Berlin, and then by the time I left the airport to get to the Airbnb and stuff, it just took way longer than I expected. But here I am. This might be the latest I've ever started a stream. Might be going on 2 hours, 3 hours or something. But it is what it is. But yeah, big up Dax, yeah, mate. Us Europeans, we love a good vacation, man. Honestly, I'm so thankful I live in Europe. Because if I live in the United States and I had to put up with what you guys have to put up with in terms of having, if I'm not mistaken, you Americans have only 10 days of vacation, right? If I'm not mistaken, is it 10 days? And that's in Europe for the most part. If you work like a regular office job like I do, or even if you work in retail, you get like anywhere between I say 18 to 28 paid holiday days that you can take off. No, retail's not paid. You have to just take it off, and obviously you're on rota. But if you're in an office job, you get 28 days, I'm pretty sure, of holiday. I think, which also includes public holiday, which is absolutely insane if you think about it, really, because it means you can do whatever you need. But it also makes booking holidays a little bit harder because if you work in a place where people are quite social, usually everyone goes out the same time. Like usually everyone wants to go out around the same sort of time, so you have to kind of fight for the privilege to be able to what's that word called? To be able to go on holiday like during the summer or during like a public holiday or whatever it may be, or like a Christmas and stuff. It gets really difficult because everyone wants to go out on the same day. So it is what it is. But big up everybody that's around. I hope you guys are feeling well and good. I have a shit setup today, so I don't have my what you call it. I don't have my monitor, so I can't see the. I don't have a second screen, so I'm gonna have to look at the chat on my phone. So if you see me looking to this side a lot, don't worry. I'm not distracted. I'm not concentrating on you guys. I'm just checking the chat as well. So I have to check the chat on my phone because I don't have a second screen. So it's a little bit ghetto. It's a little bit fug, but of course we're gonna get the stream started regardless, innit? And as is per standard here, whenever I'm late, I feel like the best thing to do to kind of make sure that you guys forgive me and you guys don't get too mad at me being late is to play a little tune, right? I'm going to play a little tune and hopefully you guys will be, you'll feel good. Oh, thank you for subscribing, my friend. Whoever that was subscribed, I can't see your name because my glasses are shit, but I'm going to play a little tune so you guys can forgive me for my tardiness. I hope you do. Like that. Hold on, someone in the chat who said this? Who said this? Please play the Little Browse version of Sorry. Really? Little Browse has got a version of this? No way. Let me check this out. That Little Browse guy is fucking terrible, though. By the way, let's see. He's fucking horrendous. That frat boy rap stuff that's going on in America is a real offense to everyone. Where is this? What's it called? Someone who told me in the chat, whatever this Little Browse song is called, that's meant to be called Sorry. Please let me know what the name is. I'm not gonna click any other of his videos because his music is fucking horrendous. It literally is an insult to my ears. But if you know what the Sorry tune is called, let me know what it is and I'll play it on the stream. I don't know what it's called. I've never heard it. Little Browse has got a song called Sorry. Where is it? I can't see it. But it doesn't matter. No one's telling me in the chat. I'm not getting updated, so I'm gonna move on. Big up everybody in the chat. Who's commenting here? Dax Dax Terrick said, "Your glasses are the only thing that's wrong with the setup." What's wrong with the glasses? Is it that bad already? The glasses are already starting to look that horrible. Are you guys getting put off by the glasses? Are the glasses not vibing? Are the glasses not doing the thing anymore for you guys? Eh? Eh? One stream, everyone's like, one stream I wear the Balenciaga AliExpress version glasses. Everyone's like, put on the white glasses. I put the white glasses back on again. We don't like them anymore. You look weird. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. But anyway, regardless, let's move on. Hopefully you guys are chilling and doing well. We're gonna crack open the beers and get started. As I said, this stream is a charity stream for me. It's a Berlin Beer Fund and Pills fundraiser. So if you want to donate to the kid to buy more beers, then click the link in the chat. There is a Streamlabs link in there to click. But I've also got many beers already here on the table that I'm going to be downing in the course of this 1 hour plus stream. So if you're drinking with me, grab a beer and let's get loaded. We're going to try and do like what Uniques does today. You know what Uniques does when Uniques on stream and he's like banging out the benzos or wherever else is on. Is it benzos or is it just beer? What do you guys think? Is it just alcohol or is this guy on other stuff when he's getting a bit loaded on stream? What do you guys think? Are there other drugs involved? There's definitely other drugs, right? But anyway, regardless. Chin chin, guys. This is the Random Show episode number 42. Big up everyone that's tuning in. I appreciate you guys being patient and waiting for me. Sorry that I'm late, but we're going to get started. As you can tell, I'm fucking thirsty. Woo! Absolutely thirsty. Excuse me? Greg LeBeau. You're saying Unique is a heroin addict? No way. Really? Asties, he's smoking that broken windows. I know what that means. Even as a UK guy, I know what that means. I don't know, but his voice bugs me out. Therefore, artsy old type of glasses. Suits you well, though. Thank you. Do you watch Red Bar? Yeah, of course I watch Red Bar. Of course I watch Red Bar Splash Daddy. Red Bar's a fucking legend. He's a legend in the game. He's the one that started all this. I am a child of Red Bar. We all are children of Red Bar. Full slurp, high quality audio. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. I should have muted the audio, innit? I'm so fucking green to streaming. I have to remember, you never smack your mouth on stream, you never chew on stream, you never chew on with the mic on, you never drink liquids with the mic on. Noted. Won't happen again. Anyway, let's move on. Oof, buddy, that really hit the spot. So, I want to quickly make a point to play this video because I feel like, especially within like the comedy podcast scene in general, I think I mentioned it beforehand about a clip concerning Stevie Weeby and Eric Griffin a long time ago when Eric Griffin used to look like the Mr. Potato Man or Mr. Potato Head. Remember when he used to have that crazy mustache and those glasses? Now he kind of looks a little bit handsome with the 5 o'clock shadow and shit. I'm pretty sure that was his girlfriend or his now wife decision to do that because that look he had before with just a big fat, thick black mustache that was clearly dyed, and those glasses just made him look like a fucking comedy character. But anyway, we continue. In that podcast, they were talking about Reddit and how Reddit is bad and how they don't check Reddit, they don't read comments, and overall, in general, most comedians, whenever you hear them talk on podcasts, they always talk about social media and places like Reddit and stuff where people give their opinions and lend their, and just share their views on each comic. They always give those things a bad rep and make it seem as if everyone on there is just there to trash them. There are no real fans on there. There are no fanatics. There are no fanboys. There are no people just gone in there blind and just said, you know what, let me go check this person out and leave a review. There are none of them. Or everyone that's on that forum or on those spaces is on there for the sole purpose of just making sure that they kind of break the comedian spirit if they read those comments, and they make sure to say the most meanest thing possible in order to make those guys cry or whatnot. And I don't think that's true. I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit. I've been on Reddit for many years under many different usernames. I've been on forums for many years also, and I know there does exist a very toxic part of the internet, but I know there's also people in pockets of the internet that exist that are also quite positive. But I've always been of the thinking, my opinion, has always been of the thinking that most communities online reflect the content creator. So if you've got a very toxic personality, most likely they're their kind of community that surrounds them, that kind of post clips about them, that, you know, keeps up to date with their content, is usually going to be quite toxic too. I think of an example just popped into my head now. I'm pretty sure if you went on Mr. Beast's subreddit, Mr. Beast, right, the amazing YouTuber, I'm pretty sure most of his content on that subreddit would be quite positive. I'm sure if you went on someone like a H3, Ethan Klein, right? I'm sure if you're on his podcast subreddit, I'm sure most of the comments on there would be quite divisive, quite toxic, and quite 50-50 because, of course, Ethan Klein is a very Marmite type character, right? People either love him or hate him, but he does wind people up a lot with how he goes on and how he acts, blah, blah, blah. And I think the same could be said for comedians. And obviously the same could be said for the likes of, you know, The Fighter and the Kid, Brendan Shaw, Brian Callen. Clearly they've created, I think, a very toxic subreddit because of how they act. But there also does exist communities online, especially in the comedy community, that are very that just have good vibes in general and they reflect the show. And I think one good example of that is Your Mum's House podcast. Your Mum's House podcast might have one of the best subreddits out of all the kind of LA comedy podcast, kind of extended universe type people. And I think this clip is a good example of it. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but it's essentially, you know, on Your Mom's House podcast, which is hosted by Christina P and Tom Segura, they have a running joke that Garth Crooks is basically a serial killer because of how weird he is and about how on the spectrum he is, about how he talks, about how he carries himself. It's just a running bit they have on a podcast. It's quite funny. So I guess Garth Crooks is obviously one of the biggest fucking musicians in the world. He sells out literal arenas, as you can see there. That's a literal arena. And at this arena show that he had that's completely sold out, somebody somehow from the Your Mum's House podcast must have been in that audience and they did an expertly timed troll that was obviously a little hat tilt to the Your Mum's House podcast community on Reddit. And I think this goes to show that there are positive aspects of Reddit, especially in the comedy community, and it's not all bad. Look at this clip.
Could I have known you'd ever say goodbye? And now, God, I didn't know.
Did you guys see that? I'm going to zoom in just in case you guys didn't see that. Did you see that? As he's singing a song, the camera pans over to the people in the crowd as they're holding up signs, and it happens to pan over to a guy who's part of the Your Mum's House community because he had a sign up that says, look. We love Garth, right? And that's exactly what they say on the podcast. And in the next card, as the camera is still on it, where are the bodies, G? And you know why it's G? Because I think Garth Crooks refers to his studio as Studio G, and he just refers, that Garth Brooks, is the kind of person who I think is the kind of person who would give himself his own nickname. You know, that kind of person. So obviously he's giving himself his own nickname in G, and they kind of had that sign up there as the camera kind of pans, and obviously the camera quickly pans away because, you know, they kind of get it. But it's fucking amazing. But that's a clear example, I think, in my opinion, that there are positive aspects of communities that exist online, and it's not all bad. So if these comedians keep letting you know that, oh, it's all bad, it's all toxic, none of my real fans are on there, they're just trolls, they're trying to get a rise out of you, it's not true. For the most part, if you are part of a toxic podcast community, it most likely has to do with the host. From what I've seen, the hosts are the ones that dictate how toxic a community is, in my humble opinion. But of course, if you say that kind of thing, what that does, that puts the responsibility back on the content creator and back on the comedian. And there's one thing that we know about these fucking comedians, they hate taking responsibility. They absolutely hate taking responsibility. So that's never gonna absolutely happen. So I understand that. But anyway, let me take a little slurp and make sure the mic is muted before I do take the slurp. Okay, we're getting fucking unique lit today, mate. We're getting unique lit. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All people are saying here, that's a great way to put it. People are saying in the chat here. Also, Christina has completely lost her mind. You see how she's been dressing up now. No, I don't mind it, mate. Honestly, I don't mind it. I have to be honest. I don't mind their podcast. I don't mind how silly they get with the outfits. I don't mind. I actually like. You know what I actually like about it? I like this. I like the fact that it's a couple. in the comedy community who actually like each other's who actually like each other's company, do a podcast together, and it's actually funny. Don't get me wrong, Christina P stand up, I could go to sleep on it. Tom Segura, I like his stand up. I think it's pretty funny. But in terms of their ability to make you laugh on the podcast, I think it's really high. And the fact that they're actually two adult comedians that are clearly in love, doing a podcast together, making a boatload of cash, and looking after their family that way, I don't really see any problem with it. And the fact that they don't take themselves too seriously on the podcast and don't care about having silly adults. Having silly outfits. Maybe I'm getting already a bit twisted already. Having silly outfits. And also they have the flipping fart mic and shit. So I like all that stuff, man. I actually don't mind it. I really don't mind it. But anyway, let's move on. Moving on. I want to know, because I think this is a quite interesting clip. I want to know, you guys, what was your first reaction? What was your first reaction to seeing Brendan Schaub do comedy? Like, what was your first initial reaction? Like, what was it? Like, how did you feel when you first saw You'd Be Surprised? What was your first reaction? Because I have to be honest, I think I've stated it many times on this podcast, many times on the stream. I came into this kind of detractor, hate stream sort of stuff as a fan. I was a big The Fighter and the Kid fan. Back in the day on Fox, back in the day with Evan the Beard, back in the day with Special K, that was my shit. I loved The Fighter and the Kid. I was actually rooting for them. I kind of lived vicariously through them. The fact that Brendan was a pretty ordinary UFC fighter who clearly wasn't going to be good enough to win a belt, but was pretty much pursuing a pretty decent career in podcasting and clearly looked like he had the talent and ability to be successful in that field. And Brian Callen, a guy who was kind of always the kind of, what they say? He was, what's that saying people say when you're like, you're never the bride, you're always a groom. What is it? Never the bride, always a something, I don't know, or always a bridesmaid, right? Brian was always that kind of guy. He was always kind of around, but never really burst and became like the big star that he kind of always wanted to be. So that podcast, you kind of wanted them to succeed. You wanted Brendan to kind of figure it out, maybe quit the UFC because he was getting smacked up too much. You wanted Brian to finally get his own sitcom, to finally get a starring role in a movie and end up being the next Tom Hanks, as his agent one time told him, right? Agents as well, man. They blow so much gas up your ass, innit? Incredible. Imagine an agent telling you you're going to be the next fucking Tom Hanks. That doesn't help you, That probably hurts you more than anything. But anyway, they were really good. I really did enjoy their podcast. I didn't miss an episode. Sometimes I'd save the podcast and I'd only watch it on video because I wanted to see their mannerisms when they made a particular joke. And sometimes I'd listen. Sometimes I was such a fan, I'd listen to the podcast on audio and then I'd go back and watch it on video. So it's crazy. So anyway, then of course, over time, Brendan ended up being the person that we know him to be now. I'm not sure if it's the money. I'm not sure if it's just the success. I'm not sure if it's the clout. I'm not sure if he just always like this and just turned into a douche. But regardless, he made me not like him anymore, which is a shame, really, because again, I actually liked the guy as a person. I thought he was amazing. I thought his story and how he was kind of coming up, trying to figure it out and stuff was pretty cool. I got behind it. I believed the whole marketing gimmick behind it. I believed everything. I took it hook, line, and sinker. Same with Brian Callen. And in the end, I kind of saw through it over time when things got exposed and whatnot. But I never knew how good or bad he was at comedy until You'd Be Surprised came out. Because if you remember, before You'd Be Surprised, Brendan was very, 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 very strict about never showing clips of himself doing stand-up. Never. He never showed anything. He never recorded anything. And this is also when people were starting to upload stuff on social. It wasn't as bad as it is now because everyone's doing clips on social with fucking subtitles. But before, people were like dabbling in it. And to be honest, like Brendan and Brian were were basically first on that whole podcast comedy thing. Like they could have really cornered it if they wanted to, like doing the whole clips and stuff and whatnot, but they chose not to. Anyway, regardless, Brendan wasn't really keen on putting his content out there. Then You'd Be Surprised came out and I was like, what? This is what you've been talking about all the time on your podcast. This is what you bore us to death with. Going to do spots on the road, touring, road dog, like all these things, like going above and beyond to make sure you go to your dates to do your comedy tour, abandoning your family, all this sort of stuff. And this is what you did when you went on stage. This is how shit you are. I didn't get it. And I think the reason why I didn't get it, because as a fan, I'm not sure if you guys are the same, I didn't really get into like the business or the behind the scenes of stand-up until I started listening to comedy podcasts. I'd watch stand-up comedy specials like Kevin Hart's ones, Dave Chappelle ones, Louis C.K. ones. I'd go back and watch Richard Pryor ones. I'd go back and watch what's his fucking name? Hey, with the gloves. What's his fucking name? what's his name with the glove, with the gloves cut off, with the glasses, and he's got that kind of he's got that kind of greasy Jersey Shore Italian thing going on. What's that comedian's name again? Oh, what's his fucking name? You guys must know in the chat. I used to watch a lot of his specials too, and go back and watch it, listen to his comedy albums too. Oh, what's his fucking name? Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah, that's him. Dice Clay. I'll go listen to him and that stuff, right? And I'll just watch it as a viewer, right? I'll just watch it as a viewer. And no, not George Carlin, George Carlton, Mr. Chicken Fingers, George Carlton. Remember that. Anyway, I'd go back and watch all those specials. But I would never really care about how they put the bits together, where they filmed it, how much they got paid, is it going to go on Netflix, is it going to be on HBO. I only started caring about that stuff when the comedians started talking about it on podcasts. Like, they make you care about their business. But it got annoying when I watched You'd Be Surprised, because like, you made me care about your business and you're fucking shit at comedy. You're terrible. And I couldn't equate it. I couldn't understand how you could do comedy for so... Don't get me wrong, he wasn't doing it for too long, but he was still doing it for like, I don't know, 3 years, I think, when he filmed You'd Be Surprised, maybe 2.5 years. So he still had some time to do it. So to be that bad, it really did blow my mind. I couldn't understand how you could be that bad and also be that successful. It didn't really correlate to me. So the only reason why I say that, a long blown out intro and explanation, as I always do, is to play this clip that was posted on the Friday Night Kids subreddit of these two black guys from America who do reactions. And they basically watched, I guess, Brendan Schaub for the first time. And this is legit, like a genuine, good kind of reaction that everyone would have if they watched Brendan Schaub for the first time and kind of was exposed to his humor.
Home. We fit. The fuck? No, you don't fit. She goes, bueno, we fit. I went, please don't do this. I promise you, you do not fucking fit.
I think that might be the best screen grab you need as a reaction to Brendan Schaub. Actually, put them both in. This might be the best reaction to Brendan Schaub ever, right? One guy killing himself and another guy killing himself with laughter, absolutely dying. I want to guys to know in the chat what happens. Honestly, what was your first reaction when you first saw Brendan? Please tell me. What was your first reaction? How did you react when you saw him do stand up and, like, you know, the big stage, the glitzy lights, that outfit, that Kim Jong-un haircut, those black skinny jeans, the Jordans? Please tell me. Please tell me. Please. Please tell me, you guys, what your reaction was. What your reaction was to seeing that. Lacar's data says I couldn't talk. Anything is possible, said Eddie D. Yep. That's the thing that I say quite often on this podcast. I say Brendan should actually be an inspiration to all of us. Because if Brendan can drive a purple Porsche, have a massive mansion, and all this good stuff, then we can do it too. I honestly think we can do it too. I really do believe that. So let's all have faith in ourselves, guys. Let's all have faith in ourselves. But big up, big up. The Asian doctor joke was a red flag. He seemed like he did everything but right joke, says Coiler. No, it's LA Showtime bullshit. What people saying here? Hey, big up, yes, for the fun. Big up a donation I think I got here. I can't even actually see who gave it to me. I need to flipping get back on here. How do I check the donations? Oh, this is gonna be mad, isn't it? How do I check it? Somebody donated to me. Can I check it on the feed? Someone should be able to see it in the feed. Let me see if I can get your name up. Bear with me 1 second so I can holler at you. Big up to Splash Daddy 420 for the $5 donation. I appreciate you, friend. I bloody appreciate you so bloody much. But yeah, what's everyone else saying? The first reaction, my first time seeing, so this is from Astes V. My first time seeing his stand-up was the Gringo Pappy and it was bad. Oh, bless you. Imagine seeing Brenda the first time at Gringo Pappy. I actually think, unpopular opinion, right? I actually think You'd Be Surprised is better than Gringo Pappy. There's better jokes on Gringo Pappy, in my opinion, because he's clearly trying to write jokes. Don't get me wrong, he's clearly trying to write jokes. But I think as a special overall, You'd Be Surprised is far better. From the production, everything around it is far better. Like, Like, I think so. Plus, he comes into it very naive and open-eyed. He's clearly having a fun time on stage. He's just not good at doing stand-up. He's clearly, if you watched him, you'd be surprised. You can see he's clearly having a good time. But I think Gringo Pappy, he was like tense, trying to be a stand-up comedian, and it just came across weird. But there was some good jokes, like one or two good ones here and there. Big ups. What we were saying. Fred said, honestly, we should all thank Rogan for his giving us a specimen that is Schaub. Endless comedy, I agree. Big ups, Papa. Yes, the first one's better. So everyone, yeah, people are agreeing, yeah, the first one is better. Cool. Yeah, Eddie D saying, yeah, you'd be surprised is better than Gringo Pappy. Gringo Pappy is what you get when you have no one being truthful with you. Yeah, Gringo Pappy is what you get when you don't have no one truthful with you. And it's also what you get when you try to, like, do it on your own. Because he kept saying that a lot. He kept saying that because if you remember, you'd be surprised. If you remember, he did that video of the behind the scenes of how he was putting the special together, and he had that clip of him in his mansion with two writers, these two guys who was helping him write jokes, and he was talking about his friends having a community around him, being surrounded by killers and murderers. There was a lot of talk about his community in this special. There was a lot of talk about him rejecting big networks, which obviously a lie. There was a lot of talks about him doing it himself, putting up billboards, all that marketing stuff. But there wasn't a lot of talk about him reaching out to comedians to come and help him with the stand-up. If anything, the only time I heard him talk about another comedian was when he mentioned Andrew Schulz. He said, "Oh, Andrew Schulz helped me," which I don't think is true. I doubt Andrew Schulz helped him with that comedy special, because if he did, this, that probably looks bad on Andrew Schulz. But he did do it on his own. I think Gringo Pappy, he did that solely by himself to kind of prove a point, and it went terribly wrong. Where I think you'd be surprised, it was more of a collaborative effort. Plus, it was he was green. He didn't really know what he was doing, and even though it was fucking shocking, I still think as a special overall, as something to watch as entertainment, that's a far better. And I also think if you're a fan of Brendan, I think you'd be surprised as a far better example of representation of who he is than Gringo Pappy. I mean, Gringo Pappy is a little bit fucked up, in my opinion, again. But what do I know? What do I know? Let's move on here. We spoke about that one. Let's go this one. So, let's talk about this. Mr. Singh, that's a good point. It's like comparing shit to shit. I know. I'm really trying my best to be trying. Look, this is my thing on this podcast. You guys need to understand on this stream what I try and do. I don't try and make these hour-plus streams just a fucking barrage, a fucking tsunami of dissing and insults and whatnot, because this get boring. It's going to get boring after a while. I can't do it. I can't sit here for 7 hours or 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours and just shit on people. I have to provide some levity. And to be honest, I also came into it as a fan. I'm always going to admit that. I'm never not going to not admit that. I came into this as a fan of Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen and The Fright and the Kid. I was a hardcore T-Fat-K fan. When I first started posting on the Fright and the Kid on the Fright and the Kid subreddit, I was one of the people that used to say, you guys are being too harsh. You guys need to chill. You guys are just jealous. I was one of those kind of people. Honestly, I was that kind of person. That's how much of a fan I was. Then, obviously, as I got exposed to more of them, I understood what those guys are coming from. But I was such a fan that I was defending them on that fucking subreddit. So when I go do these streams, I try to be as balanced as I can, because I still have a little bit of me that kind of, again, I'm a little bit ditzy and blonde that way. I'm a little bit naive that way. I'm a little bit gullible that way. But there's a part of me that still believes that Brendan can turn a corner. I know it's impossible, because he's clearly gone off the reservation. There's clearly no, especially now after the back of the Gringo Pappy, all the backlash he got from it, the stuff with Bobby Lee, the stuff with Kalila, the stuff with Annie Lederman. He's clearly a lost cause. But there's something in me. Maybe it's the Christian in me, because I was brought up in a Christian household. There's something in me that thinks he can still turn the corner, which is unlikely. But hey, let me dream. Let me dream. Cool, let's move on. So, next thing to talk about, I want to quickly mention, this is a little random one. So, somebody uploaded a clip of Joe Rogan talking to Alex Jones. Now, obviously, you guys know what's going on with Alex Jones at the moment. He's being sued by a family. I'm not sure if it's the families or one family member from the Sandy Hook tragedy or massacre. And obviously they're suing him because he basically said on his podcast or on his streams that he thought that whole Sandy Hook thing was fake and those people were all crisis actors and stuff, and it didn't happen, and just kind of, really disgraced and disrespected the legacy and the passing of all those small children that died in that absolute horrendous school shooting, right? Cool. But the interesting thing about Alex Jones is that Joe Rogan is a big fan of his. Joe Rogan loves Alex Jones. And I don't mind Alex Jones also. But I also think one of the weird things about these guys in general, I think overall, these LA podcast community comedy type guys, they seem to have, there's no middle ground when it comes to their friendship. It's either they're super hardcore fans of yours, right? Where you can do no wrong. Can you guys hear me? Oh, cool, you can. They're either super hardcore fans of yours where you can do no wrong, right? Or they're, how do you say? Or they're like, or they don't know you exist. But there's no middle ground. There's no like, okay, cool, we understand that. Yeah, there's no middle ground. And then also the other thing I don't like too about these comedy guys is that for some reason they don't understand why the public that doesn't know the person intimately might not like them. And a good example is Brendan Schaub. For the longest time, his friends in the comedy scene could never wrap their head around why people online wouldn't like Brendan. Like from what you just see of him online, the content you view via your phone, via your fucking desktop computer, via your laptop, whatever you view fucking content on, he can come across like a douche. But for some reason, those guys would never admit, oh yeah, I understand why he comes across as a douche, but he's still my friend. It was always like, oh, these guys are haters. They don't know him. He's a really nice guy. It was a really strange reality to be in because it felt like we were on one side of reality and they were on the other side of reality. And the same thing goes to Joe Rogan with Alex Jones. He could never understand why some people would think Alex Jones is a complete blowhard and talks out of his ass, doesn't know what he's talking about, and just a complete, bullshitter and a grifter. But on his side, he thinks Alex Jones is a fucking, he's like a maverick. He has all these rare insights that no one knows about. He reveals all these conspiracies. He was always right at the end, blah, 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 blah. And I think this clip that somebody uploaded on Reddit has really aged like milk. And I think they actually put it in the subreddit Age Like Milk, where it's fucking Joe Rogan telling Alex Jones, and I quote, "I know you're not full of shit." Which now, considering what's happened to Alex Jones, is a fucking brutal quote to have over your head. But I'm pretty sure if Rogan saw this clip, he would still say, I don't care, Alex Jones is my friend, he can do no wrong in my eyes, which is a really strange way to have friendship and to connect with people, where they can't do any wrong in your eyes whatsoever. I don't really understand what that level of friendship. But anyway, let's continue. This is Joe Rogan talking about Alex Jones a few years ago.
You mean I'm right about it all? I'm only seeing the code.
But I'm wondering, because of the fact you're telling me that you had these dreams that came true exactly the way you dreamt them. I know you're not full of shit. You're not a liar. I've known you for a long time. If that really did happen to you, if this is your real life experience.
Oh, famous last words. You're not a liar. Famous last words. Oh.
I want to know what the fuck that is. Are you on the periphery? Do you have your finger on a membrane that maybe other people can't totally touch? Where occasionally, just occasionally, you get a little peek through and you get to see the other side. Even if it's only once or twice in your life. Who's to say that what you're experiencing by being able to see these things that manifest themselves realistically in the future, that this isn't what human beings will have 5 years from now or 100 years from now?
Well, sure, exactly.
Right?
We think of like a cell phone being magic hunters.
We think we're all the same.
Yeah, sure, whatever. We think a cell phone when he talks out of his fucking ass, that guy, man. But what a brutal clip in it. That did not age well. That did not age well in the absolute slightest, isn't it? Considering what Alex Jones is going through. Oh my bloody God. That did not grab us in the slightest there. Gotta fucking love Alex Jones in it. Absolute Looney Tune. And of course, this clip as well, courtesy of the trial, doesn't really paint Alex Jones in the best way also, because I wonder, really, what do you guys think? What do you think happened to Alex Jones on that whole Sandy Hook thing? Why do you think he went so far off the reservation? Because I didn't mind him at first. I actually thought he was quite fun to watch and listen to. In terms of conspiracy, I still think he's maybe one of the best broadcasters that we have in the world out there at the moment, in terms of being real blockbuster, as fucking Brendan would say. Like, he provides actual entertainment. He can go for hours, the fucking papers and stuff. What happened, do you reckon? Why do you think he did that? Why do you think he just decided, okay, Sandy Hook, crisis actors, let's go after the kid's family, let's disparage them? Why do you think he did that? What was going through his head? I wonder what happened, man, because that legitimately what might be one of the biggest, let me see if I can get my phone charger. That might be one of the biggest faux pas in the history of faux pas. Like that legitimately was the one thing that's absolutely destroyed his legacy. Absolutely destroyed his legacy. To the point where I don't think it's ever going to be recovered. Really don't. Because I think a lot of people didn't mind him as like an alternative. Because imagine what Alex Jones could have been. What he could have made InfoWars to be. InfoWars could have been like a legit competitor to like CNN. It could have turned into like a legit media organization, a news organization providing alternative news, the truth, the peek behind the veil, you know, all that good stuff. It could happen. I really did think it could happen, but unfortunately for Alex Jones, for whatever reason, he didn't want to do that, and I guess he went off the reservation. What do you guys think happened to him? He's been active since the 90s. Someone came to him and convinced him that their false info was legit. Oh, is that what you think happened? Someone actually told him the crack success and he actually believed that info. That's why he went off the reservation with it. He probably didn't want to talk about it back, as he's saying, because he was too deep in it already. Yeah, true. Splash Daddy says, I think he was just saying a theory he came up with in the moment. Yeah, but that's you just can't do that, man, unfortunately. Those are one things that I think in life, especially as a content creator, there's many things that you can talk about in terms of trying to be edgy, just kind of push the boundaries and try and entertain your fans. But to say like kids that got murdered in a school shooting, like actual children, not like teenagers, like babies,